If this is your first time watching my channel, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps more than you know and keeps the stories coming. Oliver Grant was just 21 years old, living a modest life in Tacoma, Washington. Bright but directionless, he had recently dropped out of college due to mounting debt and a lack of clarity about his future. Struggling to pay rent and tired of job rejections, he turned to the internet one restless night and stumbled upon a forum called Silver Hearts, a private matchmaking group claiming to pair youthful energy with seasoned companionship. The banner read, "We offer connection beyond age, beyond time." Curious and desperate, Oliver filled out a short profile. Days later, he received a private message from someone named Eleanor W., a 70-year-old art collector and vineyard owner from a quiet estate in rural Oregon. Her message was oddly poetic, eloquently written, and expressed a longing for companionship and trust. She didn't waste time. She asked to meet, offering to pay for his travel, accommodations, and even a generous compensation just for a weekend visit. When he arrived at the Whitmore estate, he was stunned. The mansion stood 3 stories tall with antique stained glass windows, marble fountains, and hedges carved into surreal shapes. It looked like a structure pulled from the pages of an old European novel. Eleanor was already waiting at the grand entrance, dressed in a flowing silk gown. Despite her age, she possessed an elegance that was hard to define, dignified, commanding, and oddly ageless. From the moment Oliver stepped inside, something felt strange. The air in the house was unnaturally still, the halls lined with portraits that seemed too lifelike, and not a single modern device was visible. There was no TV, no computers, no phones in sight. Eleanor insisted it was her way of escaping the modern world. She spoke of lost time, forgotten rituals, and her distaste for digital noise. Their conversations were deep, philosophical, almost entrancing. She told him, youth is not about years, it's about the soul. By the second day, she proposed something completely unexpected: marriage. She said she had terminal health issues and wanted to leave her estate to someone who would preserve it, someone she trusted. There would be no legal complexity, no prenup, and no expectations beyond companionship. In his confused yet overwhelmed state, and facing no better options in life, Oliver agreed. The ceremony was held privately the following afternoon, attended only by a quiet notary and Eleanor's longtime butler, Mr. Higgins, who always kept his eyes down and hands folded. That evening, Eleanor gave Oliver a key and pointed him to the master bedroom at the end of the east wing, a section of the house he hadn't seen before. The corridor was dimly lit with flickering lanterns, as if electricity avoided that part of the house altogether. When he entered the room, he was overwhelmed by the scent of burning herbs. The walls were lined with shelves of leather-bound books, ancient symbols carved into the wooden bedposts, and a large armoire with a mirror that reflected only him. No bed, no furniture. He assumed it was a trick of the light or old glass. He lay down on the bed, exhausted, confused, but lulled by a strange warmth in the room. Just as his eyes closed, a chilling sensation surged through his chest. The air felt heavy, like he was sinking beneath invisible water. He tried to move, to sit up, but his body wouldn't respond. Panic rose. And then, everything faded to black. When Oliver awoke, he was no longer in the bedroom. He was lying on a stone floor in what looked like an underground chamber. The walls were damp and candlelit. Strange murals covered the ceiling, symbols he couldn't recognize but felt eerily familiar. He tried to stand but felt a sharp pain in his spine. His clothes had been changed, replaced with ceremonial fabric embroidered with unfamiliar gold patterns. The silence was broken by slow, deliberate footsteps. Eleanor emerged from the shadows, holding a black book with aged pages. But she looked different. Her eyes were clearer, sharper. Her back no longer hunched. Her voice carried no tremble. She wasn't just older, she was something else entirely. She smiled at him and said, "You're stronger than the last one." Impressive. She explained what Oliver could barely comprehend. Every 50 years, she performed a ritual, an ancient rite passed down through bloodlines lost to history. It was how she preserved her wealth, her youth, and her power. The ritual required a willing soul bound in union and placed into a deep sleep to complete the transfer of life essence. The marriage was never about love. It was a contract. One she had sealed dozens of times before, always with someone young, lost, and desperate like him. But something went wrong this time. Oliver had woken too early. The ritual was incomplete, unstable. Before she could begin again, a loud crack echoed through the chamber. Mr. Higgins appeared, panting, eyes wild. He threw a handful of gray powder into the air, which exploded in a blinding flash. "Run," he said, "now, before she finishes it." Oliver didn't hesitate. He followed the butler through hidden tunnels, hearing Eleanor's voice behind them, chanting in a language that made his blood freeze. After what felt like hours, they emerged from a trapdoor in the woods, miles from the estate. Oliver collapsed. When he returned to the police with his story, they investigated. But the estate had vanished. No mansion. No ruins. No Eleanor Whitmore. No records. Not even property ownership. It was as if the land had erased itself from existence. Oliver still lives with scars from that night, literal ones on his back where the markings were etched during the ritual. The ceremonial robe remains locked in a box in his closet, untouched but humming faintly when he opens it. He speaks out now, telling his story wherever he can. And though many doubt him, those who listen closely often say they start to dream of corridors, old mirrors, and a woman in silk asking one simple question: do you believe in timeless love? If this is your first time on my channel, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more true-like mystery stories like this. There's more coming. Darker, deeper, and stranger than anything you've heard before.